Welcome, everybody, to another episode where we bring some special guests. One, the only, the legend that is going to share some incredible knowledge about how to get the leads, not just regular leads, but those who stay, those who love you, those who refer you. Welcome to Top Rated Gym, the podcast that helps ambitious gym owners build profitable and sustainable fitness businesses. I'm your host, Andres Vujovic, and with every episode, we deliver actionable insights, expert advice, and success stories to help your gym grow, streamline your operation, and achieve financial stability. Even if you struggle with marketing challenges, operational overwhelm, or financial limitations in the past. Today, we have the man, the myth, the legend, Cale Owen, CEO of Gym Launch, who is experienced leader in coaching industry, guys, skilled with the fitness coaching, sales, business management, remote team. Like, we can talk about 20 different topics. Probably we need a season here, but today we'll share something incredible. Gym Launch, as you guys know, everybody knows, is a business coaching and consulting company helping gym owners grow their membership revenue and operational efficiency, provide resources, mentorship, and strategies to create a market unique offer, scale team structure, and literally systemize their client retention. Cale, welcome to the show.
That was quite the opening. Man, I'm very humbled, very honored to be here.
It's all
Thank
true,
you.
and it's a little piece of the puzzle that you guys do. So, Cale, pleasure to have you here. Tell us a little bit about your story, how the fitness world came into your life.
Yeah, so quick background. I'll try to make this as quick as possible. When I was 8 years old, I was watching a baseball game on TV, saw this guy named Derek Jeter playing, and I was like, I like that guy. I want to do that. And at the age of 8, I started playing baseball. Genetically, I was never gifted from a height standpoint, from a size standpoint. I was always the smallest kid. And I realized as I got older that I needed to optimize my performance, and I had to get in the weight room. I had to get stronger, faster, and do everything I possibly could to put myself in a situation to succeed. So around 13 years old, I got into strength and conditioning and training and spent some time with my uncle, who was a track coach and athletic director in Georgia, and started getting into that and realized the importance of that with sports performance. And my one singular goal, though, from the age of 8 until through high school, college, and then even when I played professionally, was just to try to be starting shortstop on some Major League Baseball team, make it to the major leagues. So that's what kind of got me into strength and conditioning and fitness as a whole. It was a part of my life, and it was something that really helped me a ton. And then there was, in college, I had my senior year, I needed to take a class just as another credit. And I took a personal training class. And before that, I wasn't, I'd thought about it, but it wasn't really a big thing. And then I took it and I was like, this is really interesting. I could take what I've learned and what I really enjoy, and I could train people, and I could use it as a side business in the off season or do something like that. And so that kind of sparked an interest for me moving forward and to the future, and thinking maybe I could do this as a job. After I got done in college, signed as a free agent, played what I call, I had a cup of coffee in professional baseball, played short season, and then made it through a bunch of cuts in spring training, then got cut the following spring training. But from there, I never lost that desire to be in the fitness industry, and ended up having a chance to be a partner in a gym about a year later, and started one in West Chase, Tampa with a buddy of mine. He still has his gym over there. And then a couple years later, ended up moving to where I'm at right now in Florida, St. Augustine, Florida, and started a gym here in 2015. And that was something I realized quickly at a young age, how impactful fitness can be, both on the performance side as well as just general health. And I fell in love with helping people, just general population, lose weight, feel better, get off some of the meds that they're on, and looking at the downstream effects of changing one life. And how, if you take a mom who's 30 pounds overweight and wants to get back in shape, and she's struggling keeping up with her kids, and like the impact that has on the generations is really cool. And that's what really helped me want to keep doing it and drove me to want to do that. So that's what got me into it.
Let me tell you. And obviously, Alex Carmozzi, who is one of the most incredible people out there, quite frankly, and he's coaching the material. And you taking the CEO role, you definitely have some incredible value. And I'm glad that you are not stopping and sharing this incredible value with the community. Now, I want to ask you, how does the future look like? Like, it's 2034 now. We are 10 years from now. What do you see as your mission in a community or Gym Launch mission?
It's a great question. Our mission will stay the same. I don't think our mission changes at all. Our mission here at Gym Launch and across our entire portfolio, we have 3 companies across our entire portfolio, is to help gym owners reach more people, change
Hmm.
more lives, and build a wildly profitable business. And that mission won't change. How we do that depends on where the marketplace goes
Mm.
and the changes in the fitness industry. And we'll just adapt. And that is
Mm.
one of the reasons why so many of our clients trust us and why we've been able to build an incredible business here. And because
Mm.
a lot of what we do is built on data that we see and
Yes.
that we have access to in the fitness industry. And that will adjust everything from pricing to offers to fulfillment
Yeah.
to new offerings inside of gyms, new tech, you name it. It just depends on, again, where the industry goes, and we just adapt as it happens.
And I'm so glad you said that because 10 years ago is not the same as today. And it's very unpredictable where 10 years from now is. You can make a plan, you can do everything, but in general, being adaptable, responsive to change is the plan. Like I always says in our company, the only one thing that's consistent is change. It's kind of paradox of the words.
Mhm.
But we all, and this is a lesson for the listeners, it's very hard to do 10 years. You have a vision, mission, and you have goal to help as many people as possible. But we gotta change and adapt all the time. Now, talking about adaptability, right? I've seen in recent news and years, a lot of agency goes out of the business. Businesses goes out of the business. And if I'm a gym owner getting into the world of advertising, it's very, very tricky to be sold by somebody to give them a services. How would you, if you're a gym owner who's first time looking for that partner, vendor, recognize good agencies, good vendors, good software providers? What
Yes.
do you have any advice for somebody to avoid these mistakes of saying, damn, I wasted 6 months, I wasted tons of money?
Yeah, that's a phenomenal question. I'll kind of take it step by step through different industries. So, like different
Mm.
vendors would be in different industries, and there's different ways to look at them on what's best. So, let's go on the agency or coaching side, right? If you're a gym owner and you're like, I haven't grown in a while, I'm not sure what I don't know. Maybe it's time for me to invest in a group, a company, a partner that has experience in this and that has done this. So when you're looking at that, there's a couple things really that you need to look at. Number one is I talk about the importance of business models over methods, and I'll describe this
Mm.
a little bit more. The easiest way to think about business models and methods for gym owners is when we think about weight loss and you're trying to get a client to lose weight. Well, there's a model that if we get this model right, it doesn't matter what method we use, that client will lose weight and achieve their goals. Here's an example. The model for losing weight is calories in, calories out. It's being in a calorie deficit. That is the business, that is the model, the
Super
nutritional
simple.
model, right? I don't care if you don't get that right. I don't care what method you use. It could be intermittent fasting, it could be keto, it could be counting your macros, it could be anything. I don't care what it is. If that person's not in a caloric deficit, the method won't work. But
Mhm.
on the flip side, if you get the model right, then any method that you plug into it will work because the
Mm.
model works. And when you're looking at different types of businesses to work with, you want to look at, do they actually have a proven business model that they teach? Do they have testimonials that back that up? And what are your expectations moving in to work with that person? Are you expecting a easy button where I click it and they promise that they'll do everything, and your expectation going in is you don't have to lift a finger, right? Because I can tell you this right now, there's no business out there that will do that. You will be left very
Wow.
unhappy with that
Yep.
because there's no single business owner and gym owner out there that should ever abdicate their responsibility as an entrepreneur to
Yeah.
continue to innovate in their business, take ownership over it, and work. Because that's why I love working with gym owners. They're willing to work their butts off all the time. They already are. Unfortunately, for a lot of gym owners, and myself included, when I owned my gym before
Hmm.
becoming a client at Gym Launch, I'm working all the hours, but I'm not seeing the results of that. And it's simply because I just was working on the wrong things. I had the wrong business model. My attention was on the wrong things. I wasn't
Hmm.
driving revenue, getting new clients in, or making it a better experience. But if you want to look for the right type of company to work with, first look at, do they teach a business model or a method? And a lot of agencies come up with like, hey, you can use this new fad of AI, or back in the day, there was stuff like organic and like messaging people and like all these different methods. That's fine. But if your pricing isn't right, if your offers aren't right, if you don't have a sales system in place, if you don't know how to convert people, if you don't know how to keep people, and your pay structure is wrong, all these different little levers inside of a gym that really matter inside of a business. If that isn't right, I could add 100 members to your gym right now. You still won't be profitable. In fact, you'll just have 100 more headaches.
It's
And
yes.
you won't see it. And so when you're looking at businesses or coaching programs or anything, just remember, like, understand the expectations. You're going to have to work no matter what, because if you wanted someone to do all the work for you, and I hear this a lot, I get this a lot. They're like, not just in here, I talk to gym owners all the time, and they're like, I just want someone to come in and do this. And it's like, cool. But here's the deal. If we were going to do all these things, so let's say I was an agency and I'm like, I'm going to drive the leads in, I'm going to get you leads, I'm going to get them in the door, and then I'll sell them for you. Well, if I'm going to do that, I might as well just own the gym, and I might as well just pay you a salary, because there's no point after that. Because like, I can just hand over, I might as well just take over your gym. And if you want the freedom as an entrepreneur, it's understanding, okay, expectations, I'm going to have to work, it's my business, but I want to align with someone who, number one, also has the same core values as me and mission, and who also has the track record and the proof, the social proof, the actual proof that they can do what they say they're going to do. And so looking at testimonials, talking to other clients, understanding what you're getting into is really important, and understanding, does this align with what you want? Like here at Gym Launch, like, we're not for everyone, because we are by far the most expensive in the marketplace. There's a reason for that. It's because our average client adds over $200,000 in new revenue, and why we have a $150,000 guarantee, where if you don't make that money, we'll give you your entire investment back, plus we'll reimburse your ad spend, and like up to $18,000 in our program. But there's a lot of work that goes into this, because when we take businesses, we're like, we're going to make you a ton of money, but with that comes change, because a lot of times, like where I was, my business model was broken. And a lot of times we have to dig into the stuff that we don't like to do, and we have to change pricing. We have to change the way that we pay our coaches. And there's a lot of things that have to flip and change in order for the business model to be in the right place, so that you can scale long term. And so that gym owners that come in, they get the results long term through that. There's a lot of growing in there. And that's fine. Other gym owners, maybe you want to go with another program that's less expensive and you grow slower.
Yes.
That's fine. Like,
And I love what you're saying. Listen, guys, this is a cool way to put it: model versus method. And model brings, and correct me if I'm wrong, model brings consistency.
yes.
Like everybody, any agency, any software can be good and successful in a couple case studies. And they can all bring good couple testimonials. They can all shuffle them into your email and text message saying, look at how happy they are, look at what's happening. But if consistency, and it can be, hey, I can run the ads for you, or I can show you this software. Model is the one that gives you high likelihood of achievement and consistency that you might receive the same results. Tony Robbins is big about modeling. He is huge about reverse engineering. He was going to always go up there, the most successful, whatever that is. If it's sniper shooting in a military training, right? He's going to digest, sleep with them 3 days, understand what they do, how they exercise, what they eat, how they think, how they position, like all the way. That's a model. So you need to know psychology and tactics and practical things and daily habits, everything to create a model. And then you can apply a model to anything. He was saying, like, what's your most successful training? Like, okay, Marines can take a sniper shooting training, and with 70% success, in 30 days becomes professional sniper shooters. Like, okay, I can do that in 24 hours with 100% success. Like, you're crazy. No, I'm just expensive. So he did that. He never had military training in that case, but he created a model on existing model. And he could replicate it to every other Marine to be 100% successful in 24 hours. So you get yourself a save of time, and then you get yourself consistent results. So doing this, everybody can be a good salesperson and make a promise. But figuring it out, that model. So what question should I, as a gym owner, ask to find a model versus method? Is there anything that they can use to audit it? Like, boom, you're giving me testimonials. This other guy gave me testimonials. They all look good. What is the difference for them? I'm just thinking now out loud.
Yeah. Ask them what's their thought process on how they break down the operations of a gym. and
Mm.
the functions of a gym. So like when we think about it, we started off with 5 core functions of a business. I've added 2 more to that since coming on. And these 7 are, number 1 is lead generation. And what's
Mm.
really, really important is that these core functions all work. They all
Mm.
individually have their own aspects that need to be honed in. And so when you think about this, it's almost like a factory line where each
Mm.
one can have a constraint. And it's our job to identify, as a gym owner, as a coaching company, whoever you work with, is to be able to identify the constraint.
Mm.
And then from there, have solutions to each one of those constraints. Here's an example. If I'm just an agency and I just run ads, my only job realistically as an agency is to get you leads. So that is just lead generation, which is the first core function. And so if I sign up with an agency and I'm a gym owner, but my expectation is that I'm going to keep my clients longer, that's not their job as an agency. The agency is literally just to get you more leads.
Yeah.
It's your job to now do the next core function, which is lead nurture, which in and of itself is its own core function and takes a lot of work and skill, because leads don't mean sales. And then
Mm.
I have to actually get those people to show up to an appointment, to a call, to
Sure.
whatever it is. And then just because I get them to show up doesn't mean that I can actually close them. I need to have the right offer. I need to have, which also goes back to lead gen. I need to have
Mm.
the right sales choreography when someone walks in. I need to have the right sales process, script, training, all those things to then close all those people. And then, cool, can I actually deliver on what I sold them? And can I do it at scale? Not just like ones and twos. Because like for me, when I was a gym owner,
Mm.
I'm selling 1 or 2 people a month before gym launch. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm fine. I can take over. I can handle as many clients as you throw at me. But when I look back at it, there's no way I could have with my previous structure because I didn't
Mm.
have a systematic way to be able
Yes.
to take someone from signing on the dotted line to then guaranteeing in a way that I could get them exceptional results. It was more just sign up, I'll take you through onboarding and hop in the classes, and then you will stay because you like the experience, rather than can I actually get this person results? And if I signed up 50 people, or in my case, when I joined Gym Launch, 75 people in 10 days, can I actually get those people results at scale?
Mm.
Right. And so then it's past that. So we have lead generation, lead nurture, sales, fulfillment. Then it's retention and upsells. Can I keep people longer? Do I have the right team and process in place to create an incredible experience for our clients so that they
Mhm.
want to stay and refer? And they want to maybe buy the next thing. They want to move up into, if I have a large group training facility, move into semi-private. If I have a health club, move into private training or
Yeah.
semi-private. And then on the other side, there's my finances. Do I know my finances and my data, which then drives all of my decision making through the rest of those core functions? And the last one of the most important things when it comes to scaling is teams and leadership. Do I have the ability to attract and find great
Mm.
talent? Do I have the ability to onboard them and train them and then grow that talent over time so that I can move from being handcuffed to my business and having a very
Mm.
expensive business or job, right? To then having a team that can run this when I'm not there, which now it doesn't rely on me to maintain or grow. And so
Cale.
those 7 functions, I would be
Yeah.
asking them like, how do you teach these and what's your philosophy behind these? And how will you take me from where I am now to my goal, whatever that might be, thinking through those 7 core functions?
Cale, this is impressive. And this is not new, but everybody knows this is a process. Before I ask you a question, what do you prefer in a sales commission, in a compensation for the salespeople? Do you prefer base pay, 100% commission based, or some kind of mix of both?
I like hourly plus commission.
Hourly. So there is incentive for them to be for performance.
100%. You
Let's
have
say
to.
this is one of your steps in probably number 7, teams and leadership, how you compensate, how you structure the team. And I've seen people take the model and they just modify the model. It's like, okay, I'll take first 6, but I'm done give commission. No, no, that's their job. And
Yep.
they drop that commission component.
Mm-hmm.
And then first 6 steps start failing because upsell stop
Yep.
failing. Lead conversion stops failing. So what do you recommend people who are trying to do 80% instead of 100? They just miss one step because they're thinking they're right on that side.
Don't expect 100% of the results.
Yeah.
Like you can get some results and you can grow and you can do that by all means. Like we have tons of
Mm.
gyms that have come in and built $100,000 a month gyms and multi-million-dollar gyms in a year. And they're really only focusing and really good at 3 to 4 of those functions. but at the same time, they're not maximizing their potential. And a lot of them, when they get that, let's say leadership is the thing that's there, you're still needed in the gym. If you can't incentivize your team and grow your team and be a great leader, then it's very hard for you to step away. It's pretty hard to go on vacation and not be waking up every day wondering what's happening inside of my gym. And it all, like you said, you drew it up perfectly. It impacts every little decision that we make impacts the chain, right? And when you think about it as just, again, like a factory, like if I slow down over here, it's going to impact back over here. And where a bottleneck happens, if I fix a bottleneck in lead gen, the next bottleneck is usually lead nurture. And then once I fix that, then it's sales. And then once I fix sales, then it's fulfillment. And then this, and then it comes all the way back again. And it's just a constant thing. And I think a lot of times in any business, we want to treat it and believe that we can make a machine that just runs on its own. But that's not true. We're dealing with humans here. Like it's a service-based business. This isn't a SaaS company where I build one simple app and then I can run some ads or I can get referrals or an affiliate program. And then I just have to make sure the code works and I update it periodically. And I never talk to anybody. We're talking about changing people's lives. We're talking about working with your team and your coaches. This is something that, requires EQ, not just IQ. And a business is a garden. It needs to be tended and watered and weeded and protected. And it's not something that you can just set it and forget it.
Yeah. And where do you find a weakest point usually that says, hey, here's where people have the most challenge adopting in of these 7 steps? Is there any particular one that stands out as the weakest one?
Yeah. The weakest one is usually the belief around how to get new clients.
It's psychology.
Yeah.
It's a leadership from within. Because when I speak with the 7-figure gym owners, they have this process literally not in the same way spits out, but it's pretty much the same process, probably maybe even coached by you. But I also do incentive for each one of these step processes. So somebody is incentivized for retention and improving retention. Somebody is incentivized for conversion on lead nurturing. Even if those people are different people in the company, they have to collaborate because the way you get leads on the top of the funnel really affects the retention on the bottom. And the guy will say, don't bring me these leads because they're not going to retain. I don't want one-time shoppers, grouponers of the deals and so on, because my commission, my performance, my salary is affected. So when you have that ownership of the process and a team that collaborates, instead of pulling all in different directions, you pull in the same direction.
Yep. Have to.
Yeah, definitely. Now, all of these steps are awesome, but unless you know how you're doing it, nothing matters. So what's the KPIs that people should look and how often? Where's the metrics? Where's the numbers on this?
Yeah, so there's quite a few. One of the first things that we look at when we look at gyms is what is their CAC? Meaning, what is their cost to acquire a client? That's one of the first things that we look at. And then we also look at LTV. What is the average lifetime value of a client that they have? And then we look at it from a ratio standpoint. So the cost to acquire a client, the equation for that is in a month, how much did you spend on all marketing costs, including any tech that you use for marketing, ad spend, commission. If you don't run ads, it's what's your time. You have to look at your time and how much time you spent on DMing people, posting content, like all that stuff. You also have to take that into account. And then you take that number and you divide it by the number of new clients that came into your business. Your goal is to figure out how expensive is it for me to grow my gym. And we look at CAC because it's a huge metric for us to understand, is this person able to grow their gym as inexpensively as possible? And then on LTV, lifetime value, that takes into account what their average client revenue is per month. It takes into, which is their pricing. It also takes into account their churn, and overall that will give you an idea of their experience. And so when we look at how long will an average client last and then couple in what's their average client revenue per month, now we're looking at, okay, LTV is X. Our goal always, and like the core, like key North Star metric that we're looking to do is to increase LTV as high as we possibly can to make that client more valuable to us, and decrease, if possible, as much as possible, our CAC, how much it costs, so that we can create a bigger bridge or gap between LTV and CAC. Because if we can do that, let's say if I'm a gym right now, and let's say there's 2 gyms in the same community. One gym, it costs $100 to acquire a client, and their LTV is $500. That's a 5-to-1 LTV to CAC ratio. Versus same model, different gym right down the street or on the other side of town. It costs them $200 to acquire a client, but their LTV is $4,000. Right? That LTV to CAC ratio, that gym owner can spend 5-10 times more than the competitive gym to go out and acquire a client, which means that they can go out and whether it's paid advertising or anything else, number one, they're going to be way more profitable. Two, they obviously have a better experience and a better model. And three, they can go out and outspend their competition. And whoever can outspend your competition and still be profitable always wins. Doesn't matter the business, doesn't matter what it is.
So just to translate this, a lot of agencies will provide you cost per lead, and then you'll compare. I got 10, 15, 20, 50, $100 cost per lead. Or you can say, hey, these Google leads are more expensive. They might be 2 or 3 times more money. And then you might think about, oh, I should cancel this because you're just comparing cost per lead instead of thinking like, what is the retention here? Maybe these leads, they're searching for you, for your problem, your services are way more sustainable than one who is being interrupted on social media in the middle of the lunch break. So
let's go deeper. Can I go deeper than that?
Of course.
Just on that right there, because I love that. Because a lot of us, and I was the same way when I owned a gym, I was like, I just want to know cost per lead. Like I just want it as low as possible. But here's the thing. Let's say you're getting $5 lead costs, right? But you're only getting 10% of or 20% of those leads to schedule an appointment. And then out of those, you're only getting 15 to 30%, whatever that range is, to show. And then you're only closing 20% of them. Well, all of a sudden, I don't care how low my cost per lead is, my CAC, my cost to acquire that client, is so high, I'm not going to get a return on that investment. What if my lead cost was $30, but 50% of them schedule an appointment, 70% of them show, and I close 70% of them? Well, cool. I'll spend as much as I want to go out and acquire those clients as long as I'm collecting enough cash up front. And in the first 30 days.
And it has to be whole picture. We both agree. Don't look out of one number. You got to look at the beginning number and the end number. Now we are rolling out some incredibly easy to understand, self-explanatory charts for people who are using us as a foundation for lead management, as a Referrizer. And it comes up, connect with your budget or manually entered or reproduced or ROI at the end. But it's on lifetime value. Even if you don't wait 20 years, like I don't know how long my clients will stay. Second month, I can know you're based on a cohort churn, how long is going to be retention. If you get 100 clients and 3 of them churn, it's 3% churn, it's 30 months retention. I can multiply by the value of the membership and you got it. But there's also another component I'm thinking of, because not all services are equally profitable, right? We can have a lost leader to get him in, let's say for body scan, but at the end, upsell value is what matters. So it has to be going even after the membership. Like which of these services makes me the most money? Is it private group, private training, semi-group, small groups, or group coaching, or anything after that? So when you guys looking and auditing, going back to the question when finding the agency, if they're pitching you just cost per lead, you'll get this, put it as a red flag.
Yeah.
Right? It's a red flag. Like, oh, how much you got? $15. I can do this for you.
Also,
everybody can open up the area of the targeting and get you as cheap leads if that's what you're after.
Do it all day. You can do it. I can do it easily. Like, you want to do that? Cool. I'll expand the radius. I'll change the offer up and I can get you super cheap leads. But the other thing I would say too, for anyone that's out there, if you're a gym owner and you have the belief that leads equal sales, don't sign up for an agency. Please don't. You'll just waste money. Because what will happen is that agency will do their job. They will get you leads. But if you do not know how much time it takes to actually nurture those leads, and you do not have the right offer in place and not good enough at sales to close cold traffic on amounts and collect enough money up front to be able to offset your ad cost, it doesn't matter what, again, we go back to the model. If that model's not in place and you don't have the right model, you will lose money. You will guaranteed lose money and you will be upset at the agency. And I don't have beef with agencies. I think running an agency is actually really easy. That's easy. The difference between that and success in the gym is, again, knowing how to get those people in the house, knowing how to close them and collect enough money. And then there's the other aspects, again, of keeping them, which goes into LTV, but it's dividing these things into acquisition and retention, because there's
Yep.
two ways to grow a business, right? We can get more clients, or we can make them worth more to us. We make them worth more to us by adding more things, by upselling them, by selling products, apparel, all that stuff,
That's right.
or we keep them longer, or you can do both of those. And that increases the LTV. And that's why we look at LTV to CAC so much. And that's how we think about it.
And guys, I want to emphasize, many of you already know, but $100 million leads, $100 million offers, gym launch book. I quite frankly read all of them. I think they're super cool. And it gives you a foundation how to think, gives you a side of the story, says, oh my God, I wish I know this 10 years ago when I was starting up. There's a lot of things that you can learn and before you experience it, because experience is trial and error, and it's usually expensive, and it's usually lessons that you pay a lot. Forget about it. Go the path to say, hey, who is the person, who is the company? And since this is listened by other businesses that are in a world of not only fitness, I hope these lessons can help you out. Even if you're corporate executives thinking like, how do I find a partner? Especially if you're franchisor with 200 locations. Can that agency handle 200 accounts? You give them a test on 3, they killed it, they think, oh, they'll get all the chain, and then you roll them out and they get stuck, and the model is not scalable.
Mm-hmm.
They get stuck. And then you are stuck, and then your ass is on fire because they didn't deliver it.
Can I hit on something real quick for gym owners that I see a lot? And this is, let's say you're nailing front end acquisition, like you're signing a lot of people up and you're adding them in, and your price point on the front end is really good. But then you realize you're not making money. And this is why the model matters, is because your pay for your trainers and your margins per session, you might have too many class sessions, you might have too many sessions during the week, you might be paying people too much. Like understanding those KPIs around your metrics of gross margin per session are so important, because I've met so many gym owners that crush it. They sign up 20, 50, 100 people a month. And while they may keep some people in the back end, their headaches continue to grow because they have more people problems, but they're still not making any more money because they didn't have the right system and pay structure for their team set up to make the business profitable. And that's a big one, because I see this a ton in the industry where it's like, yeah, we'll pay them by head, we'll pay them a percentage of revenue and all this stuff. And I'm like, I just had a conversation with someone earlier today, and they're like, yeah, I have someone that, I was going to pay 30% of the membership to this trainer. And I'm like, you do understand immediately off the top, you're losing 30%. You're now down to 70% margins just on those memberships, not counting all the other expenses that you have to cover that. You'll never actually be truly profitable by doing that model. And so that's why, again, I preach the model all the time. It all works together. And if we don't get the model right, you could keep signing up a ton of people and you'll be sitting there 2 years from now wondering, why am I not profitable? I feel like I'm spinning my wheels. Because a lot of times we think, cool, once I get to scalability and I get to X number of members, I'm going to make X amount of money. Doesn't work that way, because if the math isn't mathing,
you're losing money. We'll make it after on scale. No, it doesn't.
If the math ain't mathing right now, it's sure not going to math again later. So let's get it right first, and then and this is what's hard. Sometimes we get established businesses that come into gym launch and they've been around for a while.
Yes.
And they're struggling. They haven't been profitable for a long time. And it's like, we got to switch the model. And that can be hard, but
let's create some pain now. Let's have some fun. Like, people are listening to this, like, okay, I got my agency, it's doing this. Where they should look for, I don't want to cost per lead, but let's go from the beginning to the end. What would you expect as a good performing CAC to LTV ratio?
Depends on the type of where you're at and the type of business model that you run in regards to the type of gym, like whether it's a health club versus boutique. So if you are boutique, so large group.
Yes.
Yeah. So large group CAC, you're doing really, really well. If you are running paid ads, you're doing really, really well, or you should be in a good position if your CAC is 250 and less, right, to acquire a client. And the reason I say that is this is coming from the person where our clients, on average, the amount of money that they collect on day one when someone walks in is 500 or more. So like 250 CAC doesn't work if you're just selling a monthly membership and you're collecting $200 down. It's just not going to work. Unless you can keep
it requires LTV that we got.
Correct. Exactly. So, but if you're running paid acquisition, well, here, I'll take a step back. There's 4 types of ways to get like leads for gyms that work really well. There's lots of ways that you can do it, but the 4 best are paid acquisition, so paid ads, The next is just posting organic content consistently. The next one is what we call warm outreach, which would be your lists, reactivation lists, DMing people that comment on your posts, like your posts or like your ads and comment on your ads. And then the last one is referrals. Now, this is in order of most amount of leads to the least amount of leads, and also highest amount of CAC to the least amount of CAC, because referrals are, you pretty much have no CAC except the reward that you give them, right? And so, but your referrals are always capped by the number of members that you have and the experience that you give them. And so paid ads, you're going to get the most amount of leads, but there's also steps, and cold traffic has its own issues coming in. Organic, you can get a ton of leads just like you do with paid ads. But again, the CAC is going to be a little bit cheaper, but it's also time and effort and work, and it has to be really good. Warm outreach, you can get a decent amount because if you're out there posting, you get more leads from that.
Yep.
And then referrals, same thing. But when you're going through that, all of those should be used in some form or fashion to grow a business, not just one, because then you have tons of risk as a business if you just rely on a single channel to get all your leads.
And to complete the formula, and thank you for sharing this on behalf of the community, guys. You know the metrics now, and you know the processes and expectations. What is good or troubling lifetime value? What would you expect somebody? I know it's from different channels, different lifetime value.
If you're under 8-to-1 as a service-based business, like 8-to-1 is the bare minimum. Like bare minimum, you're barely getting about 8-to-1. We like to see 15 to 20-to-1 on LTV to CAC. So that just depends again on where you're at. But a boutique studio that hopefully charges somewhere in the 180 to 210 a month range, your LTV, I would like to see it closer to 3,000. But for the majority of gyms, most gyms, at least when we see them when they come to us, their LTV is closer to like 1,500, and it's pretty hard to scale at 1,500.
Very hard. You're on a burnout. You're leaky bucket, and this is pretty awesome because 8-to-1 is about 12.5% cost to acquire client. And it's a healthy choice. So for every dollar you put in, you get $8 out over the time. So all what you need to do is make sure you keep that consistently as you scale and as you increase the number of members. Cale, this is freaking awesome. We kind of went a little bit over time, and I think this is super cool for the community and everybody. I want to ask you a question, man. I know we can speak about this for hours, but I also want to give people opportunity to figure out, where do you get your knowledge? You obviously have everything in your fingertips, but if somebody wants to go and learn things that you know, can you tell us your sources? Like what podcast, what conferences, what books?
Alex and Layla Hormozi. Those are, I had the chance of obviously working very closely with them, and Alex and Layla are very close friends. I would consume their content. I still do. And that's the number one source for me on that from a learning standpoint. I also from a business standpoint, I'm playing a slightly different game than when I was a gym owner. So like I listen to things that are more aligned with the financial markets, private equity, VC. So I like to learn from those. But if I'm just a business owner and I want to learn from people that are way ahead of me, Alex and Layla Hormozi are going to be by far
100%.
the best.
And I bought 20 books about the gym and fitness just to see everything. If you go on Amazon, there's not more than 20 titles out there for the whole industry, 20 titles. And between them, there's probably about 6 of them from the authors that don't write the books and they're not in the industry anymore. They totally ditched it. There's a couple of them that has multiple books. And then I said, okay, who is the really best one here? And then you compare by influence and impact. How many people are they reached out and they, impact on social media. And all of them you can combine together and not even reach half of what Alex Hormozi did on an impact. So this is not designed to be a commercial. It's a realistic, objective opinion. And if you want to start learning there, you have a bunch of books. By the way, what I like about books is somebody spent a lifetime to figure it out. And then you get it for $25. Like, come on. Right. And if you don't want to read it, just listen it. And that's it.
Exactly.
University on the wheels. This is super cool. Cale, what can I say? On behalf of the community, I really appreciate having you today as a guest on my podcast. And I know people are now thinking, Googling, trying to figure out how to get in touch with you. And I want to, for them, give them opportunity to either get in touch with the Gym Launch or Prestige Labs, Some of them are thinking like, this is awesome company. Maybe I want to be part of it. And look how employment looks like. Or maybe investors like, holy smoke, these guys are nonstop. How can I participate? So without me telling them, can you tell them how people can reach out to you or your company?
Yeah, best place to go is to gymlaunch.com. You can reach out to us via there. Also, all social platforms, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, LinkedIn, it's at Gym Launch. So you can reach us there. I think what might be helpful is we have a school group, school.com. We have a school group that we have just for gym owners. There's no personal trainers, just a heads up, no hate on the personal trainers. It's just we built a group specifically for brick and mortar gym owners. I don't care what type of gym you have. I don't care where you are. This is a group for you, completely free. And we take a ton of our teachings and methods and methodologies, and we just put them in there for free. Everything from these 5 core functions that we talk about. We have calls in there, all that stuff. You can go to school.com/gymlaunch and you can go in and join it for free. And we have a ton of stuff in there to help you grow.
Got it. And on behalf of everybody, man, you are the jam, you're the meat, you're the legend. I appreciate you being on this podcast and looking forward to our collaboration in the future.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
If you are a gym owner looking to become top-rated gym in your area, visit topratedgym.com and grab our free 30-day reputation boost. That's topratedgym.com. I'll add it to the show notes for you. Don't forget to share this with your friends. Stay strong, stay motivated, and keep pushing your gym to the top. Until next time, this is Andre signing off.